Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today we are looking at, as you can see, a PS5 disk drive. This one was brought into a brought into me by a returning customer. Stated it wasn't accepting discs, and basically couldn't use the disk drive function of the console itself. So I've already for this tested the console, confirmed what the customer said. You insert the disc into the drive, doesn't work. I've cut out me stripping the console down to this point, and I just wanted to focus on the drive itself today as much as possible. So what I'm doing here is I am removing the screws from around the outside of the casing. I've already removed the 4 silver screws, as you saw earlier, from those black pads at the top, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws, I think it is in total, around the case, and there is one little metal foil tape that you just see me cut in there, and then we're going to lift the drive cover off. As you can see in there, you've got the drive housing itself that holds the disc. You've got the daughter board and the various flex cables that connects it all together. With regards to the symptoms this was showing, the easiest steps first is just going through, making sure everything's connected properly. On the video there, I'm just pointing out the 2 screws if you would like to actually remove the daughter board from the housing, but shouldn't need to do that. But yeah, starting with the simplest method of diagnosing the fault, we are going in, we're just checking everything looks good. So we're taking it apart, minimal teardown with regards to this. It is just so we can get in to see if there's anything obvious, or do we have any little bits of plastic flying out. As you saw there, good tip for you, make sure that side ribbon cable is unplugged, because it does restrict the movement at the top. But yeah, just going through, checking that the rollers are good, checking that the mechanism actually on the on that frame that I'm holding in my hands there is working. Just confirming that there's nothing broken or damaged, and to be honest with you, this console and this drive looks to be in excellent condition, to be honest with you. So because I can't see anything obvious, I'm just going to realign everything, make sure everything's lined up, because when I got the console and I started looking at it, my first inkling was there was something in the drive that was misaligned. So I'm just going around as I put it back into place, making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be, because I don't want to induce another fault. So we'll get the 4 screws back for this plate, and then once that's in, we will give it a test. We have here, as I'm just putting it back together, we have the 3 micro switches that control the activation and the functions of the drive. So you'll have one that tells the drive that a disc is being inserted, one that it needs to start the motors, and the third one that it's reached its final position and to engage all the other parts. So all I'm doing here is just making sure that those all align and those all make contact properly, whilst doing that, whilst putting this all back together. I am now just going to reconnect the drive in this orientation just to make sure that it's working properly. I will go back and completely assemble the drive before obviously putting the console back together. I just wanted to make sure it works before I get the console all the way back together. As you can see there, the drive is working properly. It is reading the discs. The customer doesn't have enough room on their console for me to install it, but I'm pretty confident that it's working. Sadly, I don't have any of the games that the customer has to test one of those. Right, just a point of interest. When I was actually putting this console back together originally, I did put one of the flex cables back in the wrong way round, the one that I'm pointing to here. The blue tab does face these two connectors on the daughter board, and I put it the wrong way round. It's a simple mistake to make. There is a good way of figuring it out with 90% of flex cables. I'm just about to zoom in here, and you can see there's a row of pins inside the connector itself, and obviously that's what the contacts need to make connection with inside the connector. So it's always, good way. If you're unsure, if you do have another device of the same you can compare it to, it's always helpful. I usually find it's controllers and stuff that I have the most sort of issues with when it comes to getting the flexes in the wrong way. But I'm just going around making sure all the flexes are connected properly. You've got 3 actual flexes onto the daughter board and a 2-pin connector. And then you've got the other 2 connectors that go off for power and data that go from the daughter board to the motherboard. Right, and finally it's just a case of reassembling the drive itself. There is 4 black like posts that sit up that need to fit into the 4 black rubber grommets that you see on the actual housing. And once you've got those in place, I recommend popping the 4 silver screws in first, which will actually hold it in place while you get the housing itself in place. And then it's just a case of popping back in the 8 black screws that go around the case. Now these can be a little bit awkward because they are very fine thread, and the thread on the case itself is probably only 1 or 2 turns actually on the housing. So yeah, it's literally sort of 8 screws around the case, the 4 silver ones on top, so 12 screws holding the case together. And yep, once it's all back together, we can get it popped back into the console. It is really important that you put the silver screws back in, and they do dampen a lot of the vibrations. So it is very important they all go back in. To be honest with you, all the screws should be going back in. Just a little side note while I'm reassembling this console, with regards to actually swapping out the PlayStation 5 disc drive, you do need to remember that if you are swapping the whole unit, you need to take the daughter board from your console and put it into the new drive. The daughter board that's actually in the disc drive is married to the PS5, which means that if you don't swap it over, you won't be able to play discs, read discs, and also you won't be able to update your console either. I will, when I get a PlayStation 5 in that needs to update, I will show you this at some point. I will demonstrate the fact that you can't update your console without the verified daughter board. So there we go, back up and running and testing, just a sanity check. I have put the drive back together properly, make sure it's still working. You'll have to excuse the flickering. I need to replace my HDMI cable, but we know that that's something that's going to be happening in the next couple of days or next day. But yes, so we have got console working and back up and running. So we are just going to go ahead and get this back together now. So we are pretty much most of the console back together. It is just popping the screws back in. I will give, I have given the console, the internals, a dust out. I've gone in, cleaned them out. The console was in lovely condition anyway. I'll make sure that it, all the screws are back in place. I will give it a full test before it goes back to the customer. I will speak to the customer beforehand and see if they're okay with me uninstalling a game so I can pop something on that I've got. I may actually have a PS4 game that's in their library. I'll have to do a little bit more digging. I just want to make sure 100% that that disk drive is working, and then I can get it back out to the customer. So where we stand currently, so we've done the disk drive. It turned out it was a misaligned mechanism, which is great news for us and the customer. It means that they're not spending out a fortune on a new drive, because they can range anywhere from 80 to £120 just for the drive itself. Now, lucky for the customer, he will just be paying the standard bench fee today, just for the just checking it over, making sure it's all working, and obviously getting it working again. So it will be nowhere near what he's actually would pay for a new drive. Right, so yeah, as I'm kind of putting this back together, I just want to say thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate all the new subscribers. I think at the recording of this video, I'm at 140 subscribers, so that's gone up around 15 since I've started posting content again, which is amazing. Thank you very much, guys. To all my my long-time subscribers, appreciate you watching the videos. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. I have got an iPad video that's coming out. It's supposed to be, it was supposed to be before this one, but I'm having a few issues with the audio. As you can tell, I'm doing a voiceover again. For some reason, my microphone likes to work in this scenario, but as soon as I actually start working and recording, doing two things at once, it doesn't like it. But I am sure I will get that issue figured out very soon. So hopefully it'll be less of the voiceover and more of while I'm actually working. So yes, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could hit the thumbs up button, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're not subscribed and you would like to subscribe, if you could hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. As I said, I've got an iPad video coming out very soon. Customer took it to another shop, had the screen replaced, wasn't working properly. I know I've mentioned it on another video, but I assure you it is coming soon. I will try and get that out within the next couple of days. I just need to work through the audio issues and actually sit down and do the voiceover for it. It's a little bit more difficult than, say, doing one of these ones, because this is my bread and butter. But thank you very much, guys. Take care, and I will see you all soon. Keep it going.